Hey guys, want to continue on with my no money down strategies. So one thing that I'd like you to consider is that um, a down payment is really nothing more than proof that you're serious about the deal. So one strategy that you might want to consider is to look at staggering the down payment over a certain time frame. So, for example, I just picked up a property where the seller he was willing to carry financing, and he wanted $30,000 down, and he would carry the balance by way of a vendor take back. I didn't want to give him $30,000 down. So, what I did is I secured the $30,000 against a promissory note that could be attached to an additional property that I had that had substantial equity in it in the event that I defaulted on my promissory note. So it did not have any encumbrances against my real estate, but if I defaulted on the payments, the seller could attach it, as a second mortgage note against this additional property. So it was a non-collateralized loan or a note, but it had the opportunity for that. So it was a way to do a quick deal where you weren't tying up anything. There wasn't a lot of legal junk that needed to be required to attach it to property, but the seller had the security that it could be in the event that I didn't make my obligations. So what I did in place of $30,000 down is I gave him $5,000 down and a promise to pay an additional $5,000 per month until I reached the $30,000 down payment that the seller required. So all I really had to come up with was $5,000. I was able to get the property rented out. It had about $2,500 a month in positive cash flow. So I did have to come up with the additional $2,500 per month out of my own pocket. So that's something that needs to be considered. But it was an opportunity for me to get in with an extremely low down payment on a relatively decent cash flowing asset. It also had about $100,000 of built-in equity in the property as it needed some work, so we had to do a little bit of work to it in order to get a couple of the units up to code and up to par. But that was something, again, that I could defer using credit cards, lines of credit, things like that. So again, very low down payment on my end. So look at staggering your down payment over a period of time. Now, you might think, well, what if I don't have any property that I can secure? What if I don't have any any additional assets? Understandable. Okay. So there's a couple of things that you could do that I would recommend. Number one, I hope that you have a job or some kind of income. It's really, really important. I come across people all the time that say, listen, I want to get into real estate. I have no money. I have no credit. I have no job. You're really making it difficult for somebody to want to believe that you are serious about your investment future if you don't even have income. You're a super, super high risk. So, you should have a job, you should have something, and you can have a promissory note against your income. So you can say, in the event that I default on this payment, you have my permission to garnish my wage and go after, $1,000 a month of my personal income if I don't do that. Now, again, ideally, that's not the situation you ever want to be in. However, you want to put the seller at ease that you're serious about, your investment future, and that you really plan on making these payments, to be able to secure the down payment that the seller requires. Another thing that you might be able to do is, if you have any other chattels. So, for example, a car that you don't have any loan on, or a boat, or something of that nature that you might be able to secure and say, listen, you can keep this in place of, or we can secure this against that in the event that I don't come up with my obligation. And the other piece that's important in this is to really make sure that the payments that you make to the seller are something that you can manage. Now, for example, $5,000 a month was something that I was able to manage. So that was, an obligation that I felt comfortable with. You don't want to make a $5,000 a month obligation if you can only guarantee that you can come up with $1,000 a month. Again, the most important thing is going to come down to your credibility. It's going to come down to your seriousness and how badly you really want to be an investor and put a deal together. So there it is, another strategy for you. Have a great day.